Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to Life on the Wrist. I hope you guys are doing well today. A big announcement was released from the MCH Group, who are basically the people who put on Baselworld every single year. As you know, Baselworld has had a very rocky couple of probably 18 months for the past 18 months with Watches and Wonders and a big exodus from the fair. But what was really cool is the MCH Group announced that they are going to be hosting Baselworld in 2022, and so I'm going to give you a little bit of details on all of this and give you my thoughts on it. Baselworld is a fair that's very dear to me. I remember being in Basel and seeing the fair going on. I remember specifically being with my father at the SBB, which is one of the basically it's like a centralized tram stop, but they also have the train station. But I remember being there, and I remember picking up one of the magazines and just being really interested in it. So it's a really special fair for me, watch fair for me, and so I'm happy that it's going to be taking place. So if you don't know, Baselworld is it used to be one of the yearly fairs that occurred. It's taken place since I think like the 1930s, I want to say. Even went through the World War II, it still took place. Yeah, it's been held in Basel since 1931. It went through all of the world wars, and it was taking place yearly. But there was a little bit of hostility between brands and the MCH Group, who were managing the Baselworld Fair. And so a bunch of brands decided they were not going to participate, and they were going to participate in the Watches and Wonders, which was really successful this year, and I really enjoyed actually seeing it. But this past week, the MCH Group announced that they are going to be reviving Baselworld, and that it would take place in 2022. What was also really interesting is that they came out with specific dates for when the fair was going to take place. So they announced that it's going to take place on March 31st, 2022 to April 4th, 2022. These dates actually line up very interestingly with Watches and Wonders in 2022, which is going to take place in Geneva. And so I think it's quite interesting that both of these watch fairs are going to be taking place. I'm also quite interested to see what's going to happen with how Baselworld sort of revitalizes their relationships with the brand. I did mention Watches and Wonders was where all the brands went. That was formerly known as SIHH, but now more and more companies have decided to do that. That's really all the details, really the meat of what's going on. They announced that they're going to be revitalizing Baselworld, and they announced dates which coincide with Watches and Wonders, formerly SIHH. I can kind of shift towards sort of my opinions. As I sort of said in the intro of this video, Baselworld is a very special fair for me. It was, I was at Baselworld many years. I remember just seeing it, and it really does create a really interesting buzz around the city of Basel in Switzerland. It's a very big part of, I think, the local economies, as many people have spoken about the fact that there's, anecdotally, there's a person who always goes to the Baselworld Fair and he's selling sausages outside of the fair, and every time you're just like, well, I might as well go and have one of these sausages. But like I said, I think it's a very important part of Basel, a part of what takes place in the city, and so I'm really happy that it's sort of coming back to the city of Basel, and that there's going to be a watch fair that takes place there. Basel is such a beautiful city, right on the Rhine, has incredibly beautiful architecture, ancient architecture, and I actually think Basel's a cool city because it balances a historical architecture, but also has a modern feel to it. So I'm really glad that there's going to be a watch fair there on Messeplatz. So that's really exciting. I think as the MCH Group has a real task at hand. I don't know what's going to happen with what brands are actually going to participate. With brands like Patek Philippe, Tudor, Rolex, with those brands leaving Baselworld and participating in Watches and Wonders, it's going to be interesting to see, are they going to do both fairs? Are they going to only participate in one? What does the fair actually look like? Because Baselworld was huge. It had many different rooms, many different floors, And so, you know, is it actually going to take up the entire sort of center with all these brands? So I think that's really a task for the MCH Group. How are they going to attract brands to bring their watches to this fair and show it at Baselworld? You know, obviously they do have the added benefit of being Baselworld. It's one of the oldest fairs. It's a very well-known fair there, but I don't know how they're going to have to incentivize Patek Philippe, Rolex, and Tudor in some way. I think one of the qualms that they had was the way that it was being run. It was extremely expensive, and so I wonder what they're going to do with prices. Yeah, we're going to have to keep an eye on what actually happens with who's going to participate in this fair, because it'll be interesting to see what actually happens. I think it's also going to create a real divide in, you know, who's going to stay with Watches and Wonders, SIHH, and who's going to go with Baselworld, which I'm a little bit afraid of, because I think the Swiss watch industry can't be so divided like that. I think it actually has to be sort of at once. But what would be cool is if they participate in both, and then you were able, depending on the region that you're in, you could go to one or the other. But let's be real, I don't think that's really going to happen. So we'll keep an eye on what actually happens with Baselworld, who ends up participating, and I'll be sure to cover it on our website. If you don't know, we publish a corresponding article with every single one of our YouTube videos on our website. So be sure to head over to Life on the Wrist. You can go over to the editorial section where you can read our article about the topic that we've just discussed, which is Baselworld 2022. If you are new to Life on the Wrist, we cover multiple topics within the watch world, everything from vintage to modern, learning about watchmakers to new watch releases. We really cover it all. So if you like these types of videos, be sure to share it with your friends, but also hit that subscribe button to join the Life on the Wrist family. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about Baselworld coming back in 2022. I'd love to hear your thoughts. This is a big announcement. Same dates as Watches and Wonders. They're really going head to head with them, and the MCH Group is going to have to be quite agile in order to make something happen with this. So love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to head over to our website if you haven't done that already. You can check out our editorials, but we also have some new vintage watches that we've listed in our store. If you'd like to take a look, we've got everything. We got this beautiful Tudor Oyster Date Jumbo that I'm wearing on my wrist, but we also have an Omega Chrono Stop and a Caravelle Diver with this really cool plane that kind of circles the dial, which I think is really cool. We have Vacheron that's really 4963, which is a beautiful dress watch, so be sure to check those out. We will be doing a video on the Vacheron very soon, so a little sneak peek on what's coming on Life on the Wrist. If you wouldn't mind hitting that like button for us, it really does help us out with the YouTube analytics that we run on this channel, so be sure to do that. And with this said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and until next time.